Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nick, also known as the Progressive Martial Artist on YouTube. First thing first, I kind of want to thank you guys for stopping by and watching this video. I know I haven't been that active, and I kind of addressed it on Twitter. I'm going through, there's a lot going on in my personal life, but I'm getting back to it. I'm back, ready to get the ball rolling, so I appreciate you guys dropping by watching this video. And I want to shoot this one because I saw the newest national poll between Biden and Trump, and I kind of just want to weigh in on it because I see people from all sides of the aisle freaking out about it, whether it be like, man, you're super happy about Joe Biden going up in lead, or if you're a progressive, you see Joe Biden go up in lead, and you're like, fuck, man, that can't be right. I mean, my thing is, I see this poll, and my first thought is like, hey, man, I don't care either way at the end of the day, because it's like, if Trump loses, I'm gonna laugh at Trump and MAGA for being fucking for throwing the election away. Like, how you lose to fucking Joe Biden with the media machine that Trump has? I mean, our campaign, the Bernie campaign, obviously struggled, but there was massive media bias towards Joe Biden. There was the blackout after we won Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada, and Biden got billions of dollars of free media. So Trump has this massive right wing propaganda machine. He's raising a ton of money from Wall Street and all that, and you got a guy who barely can speak, who got a terrible online presence, and they are potentially choking this away. And I said this not a few weeks ago on my Twitter, where I was like, man, Trump is pretty weak on the campaign trail. Like I look at his attacks, even, and this is one reason I thought Bernie was gonna beat his ass too, because I was looking at Trump attacks on Bernie Sanders, and he was like crazy Bernie. It was just lazy. Like it was very lazy attacks. I mean, he has a great media team, and he pumps out a lot of great meme videos. But this election is going to be decided by the boomer vote, the older vote, and at the end of the day, I don't think the older vote is going to be. I don't think they're going to be convinced by these videos that they're not even seeing, because that's the problem that our campaign, the Bernie campaign, ran into, because we had these massive rallies, legendary rallies that were breaking attendance records all over the country. But there's a ton of boomers and a ton of voters who didn't even know about it, because the media never showed our rallies. They never showed anything that happened on the ground in our campaign. And so Trump can pump out these funny videos all they want, but it's going to circulate on Fox News. It's going to circulate on Breitbart, whatever, all the other, the Blaze or whatever, all the other right wing propaganda networks. It'll go on there. It's gonna do really good, and I'm gonna laugh at them because at this point I'm just a spectator enjoying the show. But the people that they need to flip, the swing voters, the older voters that's gonna decide the general election, they not really seeing those videos, and you're not seeing Trump hit Biden hard much on. Trump is hitting Biden hard on criminal justice, but I don't know who that gonna win over, because if you look at the CNN poll, it was one thing that about this poll in particular, it was heavily skewed towards African American voters. So Trump is not gonna out. He's not gonna get. He's not gonna win over the African American community, especially after his disastrous showing being anti-protest during a time where this protest is reaching multiple. It's international with multiple races, black, white. It's giant. The liberals melting down because Mitt Romney was part of the protest. I don't give a fuck because his criminal record advocacy is horrible as well. He supported three strike mandatory minimums, supported the drug war as well, police militarization. He don't have a good record on criminal justice, but um, you see that even this is a giant thing, and at the end of the day, that Mitt Romney did this because this is a giant problem for Trump, and I said this a few weeks ago when Trump made his crazy proclamation that he didn't use the military on civilians. I'm like, man, you guys don't even know Trump is like literally choking this away. He's choking away any high ground he could have played on Biden, because we all know that Trump would pretended that he had the more high ground on Joe Biden. But maybe people who don't pay attention to politics that much maybe what fell for the trick, just like they fell for the trick on Hillary. And that's why you've seen Trump with record approvals a few months ago as well. And now you see his approvals in the toilet. But and also a big problem for Biden that a lot of Democrats not talking about as well is that Biden have some issues with his approval ratings as well. He's like minus 19 when I saw his approval ratings. But um, and this is the key. The key is I'm not blindly I'm not blindly believing this poll, right? So my thing is polls are a good way to kind of judge trends, trying to see what's going on, and that was going on pretty much this poll because Biden was +4, Trump -5, and you can dismiss that or push this side if you want, because I get it, because I completely understand that polls are propaganda in its own way. But if you I look at when I look at polls, I look at not just the poll, I look at what's currently going on. Um, in the political environment and try to piece it together that way as well. Like if you look at the trends, I really do think Trump is choking this away. Biden isn't doing anything good. Biden is not a good candidate. But that's my point because honestly, we lost this election day after Super Tuesday. That's when the working class lost this election. So my mindset is my only goal is to break up this two party bullshit duopoly that we have that give us a false illusion of choice. But at the end of the day, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are serving the same corporate donor masters, right? Joe Biden, there was just a story I saw the other day how Biden is getting an influx of cash because of, I mean, he always was getting that influx of cash, but because of the protests, he gave even more billionaire funding. People who realize that there is a opportunism in being anti-Trump. So you have a giant billionaire class, donor class that is forming around Joe Biden. So if you think there's any chance of pushing him to the left, especially with the people that he's been associating with, Emanuel, Larry Summers, there have been ideas of him flowing Jamie Dimon and Michael Bloomberg to high quality cabinet positions. Anita Dunn. You have George Bush and Mitt Romney coming out in support of him because this is a great theory I heard on Twitter. I wish I remember the guy who said it. It's actually pretty. It's a good theory to have because he's saying the reason why you see liberals rehabilitating George Bush and Mitt Romney because they are moving so far to the right and they want to embrace that change to the right. They want to normalize Mitt Romney and George Bush on policy because I always said Trump is just a third term of George Bush if you look at the actual policies that he engages in. The amount of bombings that he's been doing in Afghanistan and his warmongering over the last few years are just like George Bush, just like Barack Obama. There's not a difference in actual policy when you look at the permanent state between Trump, Obama, and George Bush. It's still the overall same U.S. imperialist strategy. So the Democrats embraced this. Joe Biden himself was supportive of the Venezuela coup. Once again, a giant Trump foreign policy. So a lot of the hardest criticisms I can levy at Trump applies to Joe Biden. And you see that they get these new the old guard Republicans to support Joe. They try to move them over to the Democrat Party while the Republican Party go far off the ledge. And it's a concerted effort to disenfranchise progressives. It's a concerted effort. And what they did, they put this bullshit task force together that the donors themselves are laughing at. That there's no evidence that they're actually going to implement any of their ideas and their plans. And they use that to placate the left, and they can placate the progressive leaders because the progressive leaders at the end of the day they play a different role than we do. They gotta get the committee assignments. They gotta be nice and rough shoulders. I have a different philosophy than that, but I'm not gonna like hold a permanent grudge because I disagree with them on strategy. I just think it's a wrong strategy. So this is a concerted effort. Like people need to get it twisted to disenfranchise progressives because just like Chomsky said, Chomsky hit the nail on the head. He told us that the biggest sin that Bernie Sanders committed was getting people involved in the political process outside the 4 year clown show that they call electoral politics. So not only are we involved and we're voting in the competition, the popularity contest, we are involved actively. Like we want to do direct action. Like that's what I'm in favor of. Um, we want to put pressure on people and members in our party, support primary challenger for Democrats as well. Um, and you can see this in live action. And a race I'm really interested in is the race between Amy McGrath and McGrath. She got an awkward ass name, and Mitch McConnell, because we have a very powerful progressive running in that race, and they literally endorsing the Trump Democrat over the progressive because they trying to disenfranchise us. So my whole thing is I don't understand progressives who see polls that are good for Biden and they have a visceral reaction. My reaction is very simple. I'm like, okay, I guess Joe Biden has this in the bag then. I guess we're going to get rid of Trump, which is great. But since Joe Biden is doing so well in the polls, and since the Democratic Party is transforming to just a corporate warmongering um, party, there's no reason why you have to be a part of that. So Joe Biden has this in the back, so let's give Green to 5%. I think there's literally no reason why the Green Party shouldn't have 5% after this election. Like, because if you, I understand if you have like hardcore Trump derangement syndrome, right? Or even if you was a victim of Trump policies, because that's why I tell people, like, if you're someone and you're a victim of Obama's policies, why will you vote for them? Now, if you've been a victim of Trump policies and you want to get rid of Trump, I'm not gonna blame you for that. I'm not gonna be mad at you for that. I don't like voter shaming. I do think it's a bad idea to vote for Joe Biden because you'll be validating the talking points that centrists been using to attack progressives, that you can't run too far left because we're gonna vote for the Democrat either way, and you need to get Republican voters. So if you fall for the trap, you can't complain when they use that talking point because you validate that talking point. You can't complain. So I want people to understand that if Biden wins, it's going to be a terrible, terrible outcome for the progressive movement. There is almost no other way to sugarcoat it, right? And we can get some great progressive down ballot victories like Lauren Ashcraft, Shahid Buttar, and a lot of them that slip in my mind right now. But we can get Jen Perlman in Florida. If we can get a lot of those great progressive victories, I think that can help ease the blow. I think that's super important to do that, to knock out a few Democrats and incumbents. It's well, I think that's a giant important step. But at the end of the day, Biden winning is not going to be a good thing for the progressive movement. So if doomsday scenario is if we allow Biden to win and the Green Party doesn't get 5%, we're fucked. Cause we can't let Bernie die for no reason. Like we can't let this loss go without anything. That's why I was trying to stress people. So if Bernie loses and we get Green to 15%, I don't think 15% gonna happen, but we get Green to 5%, at least we got something out of this election year. But if Bernie loses and we don't get Green to 5%, we got nothing. We got nothing. And so we can't let that happen. So that's why I want to stress. I'm very happy, and I'm gonna look forward to reading MAGA breakdowns if Trump continues to sink like this. Because let's be clear, this is still very early, and Joe Biden is sick. he don't got a good mind, and maybe the Trump machine has a lot of attacks loaded up they haven't used yet. So it's still early. You never know if Trump might have a comeback, but. Even before this poll, like I said, I think Trump campaign been weak, and I think these protests really hurt him. So I think if you just blindly believe that Trump gonna win just because he won last time, I think you're being ridiculous. But at the same time, never underestimate Democrats' ability to choke away an election.